Hi and welcome to iteration number 3 on Kirby Maths. Right, so far we have been doing two things of this iteration. First of all, showing that a solution lies between two values, and then secondly, we have been rearranging an iterative formula, and in this video we're going to look at what happens when we use that iterative formula. So, if I have something like this, I've already rearranged it. So I've got x with my funny subscript thing down the bottom is equal to 4 minus x cubed, also with a subscript and over 6. Now xn plus 1, all that means is the next value, and the xn bit means the previous value. And that will all become a lot clearer when we start to use the formula. So what iteration does is it recycles values through a formula to try and find a solution. So we're going to put a value into this formula, and then whatever value comes out of that, whatever we work out, we're going to recycle it and put it back into the formula again in the place of x. Usually you are told what the first value is, so we're going to use this one, and we're going to use the first value, which is often called x0, and that is 1, and then we're going to try and find the values x1, so the next value, x2 and x3. I'm going to do this first of all by using our brains and just some paper and pen, and we will find out quite quickly that that's not the best way of doing it. The best way of doing it is using your calculator and the answer button, but I'll just take you through the process first of all. So we are putting x equals 1 into this formula. So it becomes 4 take away 1 cubed, all divided by 6. 1 cubed is 1, 4 take away 1 is 3, so that becomes 3 over 6, which we would write as either a half or 0.5. And that is our value of x1. Then we use that value and substitute it back in here to get our next value of x2. So we write out our substitution. That becomes 4 take away 0.5 cubed, all divided by 6. This is really horrible now, isn't it? Because 0.5 cubed, if you've got a half and you cube it, you get 1/8. So if I was using fractions rather than decimals, I would have 4 take away 1/8, all divided by 6, which would be 3 and 7/8, all divided by 6. If you do that on your calculator, you get this answer, which is 31 over 48, quite a horrible fraction, or a recurring decimal, which is 0.6458, and the 3 recurs. So this is our value of x2. Should I put it as a fraction or a decimal? I'm going to put it as a fraction because it's nicer. It's not recurring decimal, 31 over 48. And then finally, my third calculation, I'm going to put this value in place of the x. So I have 4 take away 31 over 48, and I'm going to cube that, and then I'm going to divide that by 6. So if I have that cubed, I'll do 4 take away that and divide by 6. It doesn't even come out as a fraction, it comes out as a decimal, so it comes out as 0.6217 and keeps going. Okay, and that would be my value of x3, the third value, 0.6217. So let me just use some colours to keep all of those things together, because I know that that's not terribly clear. So each time we're just recycling the whole thing. So my x1, where I got my value of 0.5, there's this lot of workings here. Okay, and I used that 0.5 and I substituted it back into my iterative formula, and I got this answer. So x2 was 31/48, or this recurring decimal. So that was this lot of workings here. Oops. Okay, and then finally my x3 value, which I couldn't write as a decimal because it's a I could write it as a decimal, I couldn't write it as a fraction, is this lot of workings here. Anyway, whichever way you look at it, that's pretty difficult to do just using your brain. Now, the reason that this would appear on the calculator paper, excuse me, is because we would expect you to use a calculator to do this. And in order to do that, we use the answer button. So this is your calculator method, and this is the method that you should be doing. We take our value of x0, which is 1, and on our calculator, we type in 1 and press the equal sign. And that then stores the value 1 on the answer button. We then put in our formula, this formula here, the iterative formula, into the calculator, put it in as a fraction, so use your fraction button, which looks like that. And fill in the top, 4 minus answer cubed, all divided by 6. And I'll just show you how to do that on the calculator. So if I can hold the calculator properly like this. So using the fraction button, let's see if I can get this a bit better. Using the fraction button, we put 4, oh hang on, I need to do answer first, don't I? So 1 equals, and then clear everything. That's storing it on the answer button. There we go. Then fraction button, 4 minus answer cubed. Go on to the bottom of the fraction, divided by 6. And then the first time I press my equals button, comes up with a half. So that is my value for x1. And we've already worked that out, and it is indeed a half. If I press the answer button, the equal sign again, look what happens to that half. I press it again, then becomes my 31/48. So it does all the calculation for me without me having to put it in again. If I press it again a third time, it gives me my x3 value. And that agrees with what we had in our workings here, doesn't it? 0.6217, and that keeps going. And you can keep pressing this button. That would give me x3. That gives me x4, the fourth value. It then recycles that. The calculator recycles it for you to give you the fifth value and the sixth value. In an exam question, you won't be asked to go as far as that. Okay, so if I just reiterate what you need to do on the calculator, whatever value you get given for x0, you type that into the calculator, press the equal sign, and that then stores the value on the ANS, the answer button. Then you input your formula, whatever it is, using the answer button. This is the answer button. So I used a fraction, 4 take away the answer cubed, all divided by 6, and then I pressed the equal sign. And that then gave me, and we saw that on the calculator, x1, which was a half. I pressed the equals button again. That gave me x2, which was 31/48. Saw that on the calculator display. Press it again, and it gives you x3, which was a decimal that keeps going, 0.6217, blah, 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 and so on. Okay, hope that helps.